and welcome y'all to Conversations with Dean. I am Dean. That over there is David. Y'all remember him from last week, baby. Listen, we about to get mother loving into it. We have a lot coming on to you. We're going to be talking about these the vaccine passports that are going to be happening. We're going to be talking about some wasteful government spending. We're going to be talking about the border crisis. You are going to be in for one hell of a treat. But before that, I got to try to save your pockets as the best as I can. You know how we got to do this, baby. Listen here. I know most of you motherfuckers are either doing your own taxes, you fucking got some accountant in the neighborhood that don't know a damn thing about you, or maybe you're using the Intuit tax or whatever like that, talking to the free agent that you can speak to, whatever the case may be. Fuck all that bullshit. I'm telling you, what you need to do is speak to some people who look like you, understand your plight, and come from where you come from. Listen here. The men and women at JGA Tax Services, that's exactly what they are. That's exactly what they do. Did you understand the child tax credit has changed from $2,000 to $3,000. The age went from 16 to 17. Do you understand that? Did you know that if you are unemployed, your first $10,200 in the American Rescue Plan that has now that makes that tax deductible? Did you know that? Did you know that the men and women at JGA Tax Services can not only do your personal taxes, they can do your business taxes. They can also, listen, if you have investments, the capital gain has just changed. They know how to handle that. I'm telling short-term capital gain versus long-term capital gain. They know how to do all of that, people. Don't take my word for it. Just go ahead and help your motherfucking self. Call them, have a conversation, and do the damn right thing. And everything they do is going to be over a secured network. And you can call them at 631-542-2344. Once again, 631-542-2344. Use the Berry Gang 1 code. Make sure you let them know Dean and Lo sent you. And it's going to be one hell of a time for your motherfucking pockets. They're going to protect your tax bracket. They're going to protect your bread. With that, the bills have been paid. Boom. What up, player?
Yo, what's going on, Dean?
Listen, man, you know, we're out here moving and grooving and moving. And listen here, people, I want to let people know, I did that without the coffee yet. I ain't had no coffee this morning. Ooh, now we got the Cafe Bustelo going. So, David, what we going to do? We spoke about it a little last week about the vaccine passports and what people like you and I going to have to do. But we're getting there now, big dog. We're getting there now.
Yeah. It's it's getting
New
scary.
York is talking about it. Then you got obviously Governor DeSantis down in Florida. He just actually he signed a bill into law stating that they're going to be legal down there in Florida. Like, states are gearing up one way or the other.
I'm trying to understand what the driving force is behind it. It doesn't seem like the government is trying to step in and make it mandatory. It seems like the states are deciding this for themselves.
When you say government, just for the people who are listening, because we got people who are listening who don't really understand the breakdown. So when he's saying government, he's saying it doesn't look like the federal government is trying to push for it in front of the cameras. He's saying it's looking like this is all coming from the states at your state level. Continue, David.
Yeah, so if they're leaving it up to the states, you know, what's going to be the driving force behind each state's decision? I would imagine that, you know, it's rate of, you know, infection, deaths, whatever numbers they come up with, they're going to use to make their decision. And I mean, what are people going to do? How are people going to travel state to state? How are, you know, goods going to move?
That is exactly. And I think, and here's a conversation you and I were having. What does it matter? Like, we were having this conversation off air in pre-production. If the vaccine is working and all the people who want the vaccine are getting the vaccine and y'all are safe, then you shouldn't care about the rest of us. Survival of the fittest at that point, right? If something happens to me, then you should be like, all right, that's your fault. You knew what. I know the risk that I'm taking. That's the thing about it. You have to allow people to make their own risk. And there's something that people aren't talking about. I believe 90% of Mormons have herd immunity right now.
That's right. Or I saw something about the Amish.
It's the Amish. It was the Amish. The Amish.
Yeah.
They have 90% herd immunity. Listen here. Let's have if we're gonna really have a conversation. Everybody who wants the vaccine, get the vaccine. Let the rest of us do what the fuck we want to do.
One thing else I've noticed is that, you know, every time that they're talking about the vaccine, One of them just test 73% effective was what they quoted. 73% effective against COVID-19. Now, they're also saying in the same breath, the news, they're saying that the vaccine is not going to stop the spread of COVID-19. So which one is it? If the vaccine is working, then why are people not being allowed to return to normal life? Because we do not need every American to be vaccinated, in order to.
Because every American is not going to want to be that. That's the thing, people. I don't give a fuck what they do in other countries. That's their problem. That's their business. But here in the States, we got something called civil liberties. I thought we did. You got something called freedom of expression. He said, at least that's what I thought you did. You have freedom of choice. At least that's what I thought you did. Listen here, people. Okay. Let's have a conversation, because you and so I'm an independent kind of libertarian. Like it really depends on the day when I wake up. I kind of I kind of cheat on one with the other. I ain't gonna front. I'm kind of like, ooh, one day, ooh, other way. You know what I mean? I just can't really figure it out. You're a libertarian. So we're all about freedom of choice, freedom of expression. That even comes down to listen, women, I support your choice and your right over your body. I support it. You should be able to do
100%.
whatever you want to do with your body. That's your body. It is what it is. Now, do I also believe that men have rights when it comes to their kids? Of course. But your body, your choice. Do what you want, right? Now, why is it when the shoe's on the other foot? Why can't it not be my body, my choice? Because you're saying that, I could infect someone else. Well, if you get the vaccine, you shouldn't be worried about that. And then look at it like this. You have most of us don't want to touch this fucking vaccine. Since we're not going to touch the shit, you can now open it up to more Americans faster. Think about it like that. So you motherfuckers who want to get vaccinated, and let the rest of us kind of see where it happens. Fuck it.
Right. Too many people, they're making it you're either on one side or the other. I think they forget that not everyone is vaccinated with every available vaccination. So really, why is it such a big deal now more than ever? We're just, being divided.
And for the record, I'm not even against vaccinations, Big Dave. I'm really not. I'm not. I just don't like the way this. I understand they're going to say that, it came out so fast. You have the world's best scientists on it doing this, doing that. I get you. But then there was a lot of clinical trials that were skipped. You can't, you rushed it too fast. You can't have a long-term study on something in less than a year. How?
Right.
We're all learning on the go.
Right.
So since we're all learning on the go, let me bet on me and my body. Fuck it. That's what I've been betting on this whole time.
Right.
None of you motherfuckers are telling, listen, you're rushing to tell everybody to go get vaccinated, but you're not telling people to lose weight. You're not telling people to get in shape. You're not telling people to get to get physically fit and become active. You're not telling them to go take the vitamins. You're not telling them what are the things that they themselves can do. You're just trying to make it seem like you get this shot, you're going to be perfectly fine. No. How about we talk about a lifestyle change, because obesity is an issue within America. It's a fucking killer. We want to talk about pandemics? Let's talk about pandemics, baby. Let's go, Dave. Come on
let
now.
them know. Let them know. Too many Americans are out of shape. People are out of shape. They're not, and it's not, you don't need to be a naturalist, but, people need to understand fresh air, sunlight, drinking water. So many Americans walk around dehydrated and they don't even know it. They're basically just killing themselves through dehydration, eating terrible food. You're out here eating fast food with God knows what in it, every day.
Disease is a motherfucker because of it.
Yeah.
These arteries are clogged out here in this motherfucker. But then
look at the COVID-19, the age groups that were being, most affected. We all know that it was mostly people, later in life, 50s, 60s, medical conditions, even young people with medical conditions. But people 20 to 44, they're fine. They can
fine.
beat
And
this.
actually, to be honest with you, I would say even your 50 and your 60-year-olds were fine. It was really people, I think, over the hump of like that 70, or if you had these pre-existing conditions that may have been that could have been fixed early on in your life with a proper diet. You ain't even got to work out. Just have a proper fucking diet and just watch what you consume. But we don't want to tell people that because you're offending me. It's my body. It's my child. I don't give a motherfuck. Just because your bitch ass don't know how to fucking at least get off your couch at least 2 to 3 times a week is not my fucking problem. It's not my problem. You want this miracle drug it's supposed to fix you, but if I don't get it, it can't fix you. Come on.
And the fact that they're going to use it to control what people do, that's the scariest thing to me, I think, especially as a libertarian. We love our civil liberties. You know, we want to
Yes,
move
sir.
freely. We don't want to be bothered.
Nope.
And it's going to be one of those things where I think it's going to have a huge effect on what you can do and where you can go.
And then we really have people out here who are going for it. And what I mean by that, Dave, is listen here, right? Let's talk about it. So you see on the news, right? There was a pundit. I think they were on CNN. I could be mistaken. It was a white man and it was an Asian lady. And I don't know what part of Asian culture she's from. I'm just saying an Asian lady and this white dude, right? Boom, they're talking, and she says this. I'm paraphrasing it, but people, the clip is going online. You can look this shit up. She's basically saying that we need to hurry up and basically force people through this pandemic to get the vaccine before it's too late. She's talking about on air taking our, like, you cannot make any. Okay, people, let me put it in layman's terms. You like what they're trying to make you do today, but what happens when you don't like what they're trying to make you do tomorrow? Do you understand what I am saying to you?
If you give them an inch, they're going to take a mile.
No, you give this government an inch, they're going to take a country.
Yeah.
You understand? Like, this is not, you motherfuckers, these same people who are vying for this vaccination, who are vying for the government to tell people to get vaccinated, are the same people who also in the same breath will say that they hate the government for what hand they have played in international affairs and how we move and operate. Why would you want to give these people more power over you? If they can do it in the vaccine and the pandemic, they can pass any other kind of laws that will even transcend afterward. Because then anything can necessarily become a pandemic, because by these standards, we have a lot more pandemic deaths going on. Let's talk about the suicide rate. Let's talk about cancer. Fuck it. Let's talk about car accidents.
The flu. Where did the flu go?
The flu, Dave.
Where did the flu go?
Dave, you ain't know the flu wasn't around no more, baby? You ain't know that? I think
in the UK, I believe, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure that they tried to state that they had 0 cases of the flu this year. Can you imagine having a year without the flu?
It's amazing, isn't it? But then you know what they're going to tell you, Dave, right? It's because everyone was wearing the mask, because everyone was being socially distant. Here's something else too funny about this thing, right? Because, and this is what I mean, the way they sensationalize and then they report things. So you have the vaccines out now, but then you keep telling me about this new strand that's out that has mutated. It's more aggressive. It's now in the United States, right?
Right.
Then in one breath, you say that X and X vaccines may not work good against it, but then X vaccine may work good against it. Is that another, like, what is, like, when does the fear mongering start? Stop. When does it eventually, like, when are we just going to say, hey, listen, what we found is that, you know what? Hold on. Let's pull it up, Dave. Because it was in you and I's Twitter conversations, I believe. Hold on. Because it was about the actual, the COVID deaths. But,
oh, you're right.
Yeah. Let's you know what, Dave? Fuck it. Like, if they're going to come after us, Dave, they might as well come for us, right? So, now, this is how COVID-19 affects different U.S. age groups, right? So we got hospitalizations for 20 to 44-year-olds, 14%. ICU admissions at 2%. Case fatality, 1%. 45 through 54, 21.2%. Hospitalization, 5.4%. ICU admission, 0.05% case fatalities. 55 through 64, 20.5%. 4.7% for the ICU admissions, 1.4% case fatality. 65 through 74, obviously it goes up and it goes up. But these are shit. Even when you're 75 through the 85-year-old range and up, right? It's only a 10.4% case fatality, and it's like a 30% chance of even a hospitalization. Okay, right?
It really makes you wonder. I mean, look at the numbers. It makes you wonder, why are people so sensationalized by the idea that they need to, force others to get this vaccine? What's driving this? What is it?
People love to tell people what to do on either side of the fence. They love to tell you what you can do, but you can't tell me what I can do because what I'm telling you is right when you're telling me is wrong. No. How about we get back to the point of you live your life, I'm going to live my life. There are certain, obviously we have to have certain parameters in place for protections, but fucking relax, bro. If you got the vaccination, then calm the fuck down. I'm confused.
Right. It shouldn't be, we do not have bodies piling in the street. You know, this is not wiping us out by any means. I mean, yes, it's unfortunate that people have died from COVID, but, we don't.
Here's my question. I want to know, besides the COVID killing some of them people, what were the pre-existing conditions that would have got them anyway? Because, I'm just thinking about a lot of people that I know who passed away from it. Mm-hmm. They were either old or they were morbidly obese. And I'm not even talking about every big person caught it, but I'm talking about niggas who's morbidly obese. They had pre-existing conditions. It was like, nigga, you just got to take care of yourself. You can't be eating fucking McDonald's at 3 a.m. Then
those
going to
days
sleep.
are gone.
That's not, niggas, you can't do that.
My body hurts thinking about doing that. I've done that before, and I'm so much more conscious now of what I'm eating, especially because I'm training all the time. And I'm learning that, when you put your body under this kind of stress, constantly working out, training, you have to take care of your body. You're going to be in pain all the time. You're going to catch injuries, and just people, I think, just living normal lives don't even think about taking care of themselves. So they're more at risk for things like this. When they get sick, they'll get far more sick than somebody who exercises regularly and takes care of themselves and eats right.
I didn't get sick once during this whole thing.
Excuse me. I did
at the beginning. I'm talking about at the beginning before it was cool to have it. That's when I caught it.
Yeah. Oh, right? Okay. So you actually
caught it. Yeah, I had the shit. I had the shit in, what are we in? 2000. We're in 2021. So I caught it January, February.
Oh, you were early.
Of 2020, right? Okay. Had this shit. Now, after I caught it, I ain't never been sick again, bro.
Really?
Never been sick again. Never had besides my normal if I because I'm lactose intolerant, so I can make myself sick by accident. But besides that kind of shit, never been sick, bro.
Nothing.
Never been sick.
Now here's the funny thing. I got sick the last 2 times I got sick that November. Right before the March where COVID really hit. I got sick for about a week, 2 weeks, and it was pretty bad.
Right.
It was. So we had that. Obviously, COVID came about. I would say midway through COVID, I got sick. I had a respiratory infection, without a doubt. I was pretty sick. I was coughing up phlegm. I was like, okay, the COVID got me. I'm thinking the worst. So I go to the doctor. I go to get tested, and I stay home from work. Luckily, this was over the weekend, so I wasn't around anyone, aside from when I went to the doctors.
I'm listening.
Came home, did my thing. 2 days, 3 days later, the test results come back, negative. I'm thinking, how in the world did I get a respiratory infection? And it's not COVID, especially during this time. I don't know, they say that the test, maybe it was a false negative or, whatever the case may be. But I just...
Oh, yeah, they'll give you everything.
Listen, I don't know.
Because you can still catch other things. There are still other,
There's always other things, the cold, the flu, these normal things that people get all the time, all year round.
And once again, we don't want to have the conversation of why is it that all right, so these same scientists who you motherfuckers want to believe on one end were also the same scientists, when it comes to taking this vaccine, also the same scientists or some of the other world leader scientists are saying that this thing looks like it's Frankenstein stitched together. What do you have to so who stitched it together? I have a question, people. Why is it that one moment you got the World Health Organization who's pushing these vaccines, the same people who said they wanted to dignifiably be able to come and remove people from your home? Look it up. The motherfucker who's in charge of the corona response over the world, Craig, the world said that he wanted in a dignified manner to take people from people's homes because COVID was spreading within the homes. These are the same people who did nothing to China. They actually were trying to say they tried to say that China handled it correctly. Those motherfuckers had the outbreak in motherfucking fall. Didn't tell us shit. Was not properly cooperating with the World Health Organization. But these are the same. But then you want to listen to them when they obviously are in bed with somebody.
You gotta
or have
think.
been grossly wrong. Like, listen, in America, people, hold on, I'm gonna let you go, Dave. I just gotta say this and I'm done. In America, people, we got something called the right to work. That means you can get fired at your job for fucking breathing wrong. But yet, we're gonna let these motherfuckers who continue to make the same mistakes over and over again get a pass, and we're going to continue to blindly follow them and then try to force people to do what they want us to do. You can suck my motherfucking dick and you can die slow, you fucking pussies. I swear to God, I ain't getting that shit. And that's on God. On God. What up?
100%.
What up?
The issue, Dean, I truly believe the issue is which news source people are getting their information from. In this age, there's so many different takes on the same information that people are, you have to look. Forbes is something that Americans are familiar with. Mm-hmm. Forbes, in part, is funded by China. Why in the world? And I know you want to talk about it maybe at another time, but China.
We'll let people know, because this is going to be coming out on Monday. Next week, we got a special guest.
Yes, but why is China meddling in American media? You have to think. Why do they want part in what is being said to us? People aren't thinking about that. I don't want to be too conspiratorial, but it's true.
No, but it's not, because I have a question, Dave. Wasn't it you and I, we had the conversation about how much of the media China owns? Did we talk about that last week?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah,
China owns a large portion of our media.
Yeah.
It's not, don't get me wrong, they're not the leading news sources or media sources, but they have enough that's very uncomfortable. But then here's the thing: the few key plays that they do have, you wouldn't even think that they have. You understand what I'm saying, people? China is a communist fucking country. They can take over their fucking citizens' businesses no matter. Listen, you say what you want about that motherfucker Trump, because I got a list of issues with his bitch ass. And we're going to talk about him next week because we got a special guest coming in. But now listen here. What the motherfucker did with Hua in their telecommunications, with everybody trying to use their towers, was fucking correct. Because if you don't think China wasn't going to take over that shit, and then China has football fields filled with data on everybody, on everything.
Could you imagine?
They're just collecting data. Why are they collecting this data? What are they trying to do with this data?
Now, I will say, embarrassingly enough, after I left the military, I was attending college, hanging out, having fun, and I get a letter in the mail from the military. China had, I guess, hacked, some part of the government, and my information could have been a part of that. So they were letting me know, and they signed me up for this online thing for them to monitor my information. But I mean, it's just, how does this happen? Why are they able to do this? Why are we not, kind of scares you a little bit, because you think America is the big dog, on the world stage.
But then you know what though? And here's the thing though, because then you got to wonder this, because I've been fortunate enough, and this is why I'm a supporter of the military, because I have a lot of people who've been in the military, even besides my mans. Like, I got family members who was in the military, and they were and they did some pretty cool, crazy shit. So talking to them, I know America's military prowess.
Right.
Then I know the things that are happening to us, we do to other countries. The thing is that America passed a propaganda law that allows America to use propaganda against its people in regards to matters of the state. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
So us dealing with China is a matter of the state. So of course we're going to hear what China's doing, but we have no idea really truthfully what we're doing to China unless you're really into it. Like, you hear rumblings, if you know people who'll give you a breadcrumb here or there.
I was just speaking to someone. They were telling me that China owns radio stations in Mexico, and that they're close to the border of California, and that they blast propaganda across the border with this. I mean, it sounds a little crazy, but I mean,
I wouldn't be surprised to think about. But I wouldn't be surprised to think about. First of all, something that's uncomfortable to me. Think about how much China influences in the Caribbean now.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, they almost own some of those islands now.
How much of that is in Africa now? That's why you got Biden and excuse me, you got Biden and Boris Johnson talking about having some kind of exchange together. Listen, this isn't a
Say what you want about Trump. Say what you want about him, but America wasn't having it when he was president. America was not having it. I think people were, thinking twice. But now that we had the administration change, China is going to be on the offensive. I mean, we're essentially at war, pretty much.
Here's the thing. I'd rather, and this is what people don't understand. I'd rather beef with Russia. I'd rather beef with Russia than China. Like anybody I talk to in the military. Russia is fair.
Putin, I believe, listen, Putin might be a piece of shit. But I think when it comes to dealings with America, country to country, he's going to act fairly, especially when Trump was in charge, because he knew that if he stepped wrong, Trump was going to check him.
That I don't believe. I do not. Oh, hell no. I don't believe Vladimir Putin would give a shit. He was meddling in the elections as well. We know that these foreign powers were doing that. He doesn't have any respect. Like, because don't get me wrong, they're big enough that we have to be wary of them. But I don't think he was scared of Trump. And then listen, there's something that we do have to talk about is, he did send them hookers into Trump's room. You see what I'm saying? So you cannot. He wasn't scared of shit. I think that he was playing the game what he's playing. But what I mean by that is whenever I talk to my friends about military prowess, who are in the military, been in the military, they may be contracted, whatever the fucking case it may be, right? You talk about military prowess, they're always just like, Russia will get steamrolled. China's we would steamroll. Like we would, like, Russia don't want this. They talk if they don't want it. China is like, we could win. We could win. But, like, don't get me wrong, we're gonna take some licks with Russia.
Oh yeah.
But with China, it's going.
You're talking a billion-man army.
It's gonna shake the world. You see what I mean? They're just gonna keep throwing shit at the fucking wall. So.
And the thing is, essentially, I don't believe that it would happen, because how would you imagine countries staying out of it? Countries are gonna have to pick sides.
It would definitely turn into
a world war. And it essentially would be the beginning of the end, because no one's going to take the L. And, like I said, things go nuclear, God forbid, you don't want to see anything like that happen. But I believe the economical war and, the cyber war.
That's
going to continue until one gets way stronger than the other. And it's obviously visible, then it'll, kind of be a war like that.
That's the thing. That's going to be interesting to me.
Yeah.
Which is another reason why, when you look at how the world is why I refuse to give up my motherfucking guns. Because it's like, even besides America, I got to worry about eventually somebody going to try us.
Right.
I'll be dead. And I'm telling you right now, listen, I know you motherfuckers are collecting data, and I do whatever you want to. You come over here with bad intentions, you going to be met with ill intentions. I promise you it ain't going to be that easy. It ain't. This is not what you fucking want. All right? Putin, G, Kim Jong, you bitch. Iran, Syria. This is not. Okay? But move on. Go on about your business. Get fucked up around these parts.
You see what Trump was doing. I mean, it's hard to imagine that anybody would give us a problem right now, like you said, aside from China. But I think internally, America really needs to focus on which direction it wants to take. And I think as minorities, especially, we need to sit down and discuss on, what we truly believe, because if, people like us come out of, right field with somewhat, I guess people would consider conservative views. If we're taking, that's our take, then they're going to view us as, race traders. The emotional argument comes, but I think we need to have a logical argument about which direction we want to take as a country, because we can't fall behind. I mean, we're talking about each other's livelihood, essentially.
What needs to happen within the Republican Party?
What's that?
Or the right, at least. What the right needs to do is have a bit of a purge. Because what they don't realize is most Americans, if you take away all this bullshit, most Americans are this when you talk to them. They are socially liberal,
right?
Fiscally conservative. If the Republican Party would have a reform within it, if they had a few key young players that came from that truly represented America, came from different backgrounds all over the place, kind of like what they have going on now with some of their social media stars within the party. If you had some of those individuals actually get into office, if you were able to coax someone like Tulsi Gabbard to come over, you see what I mean? If you were able to, You just got to make
a lot of people
adjustments.
like Tulsi. Yeah, a lot of people like it.
You got to the Republican Party needs to make a few adjustments.
Yeah.
Socially, truthfully, if you want to be true conservatives and let people live, then really truly back that, let people live and let people do what they want.
Right. Yeah, I don't think there was enough.
It.
You're right. There wasn't enough push forward, I believe. But the base is also incredibly huge. I mean, you have to think Trump had more male African and Latino voters this time around. African American votes, like, you know, Latino votes. Like, people got to think, like, why are minorities voting for Trump if he's so, you know, racist and all these other things? Like, you know, like you said, a lot of these people are conservative and they don't want to admit it. You know what I mean? They're doing it kind of for the culture, the woke culture.
Like, most people are fiscally conservative, socially
right.
liberal. So you just might as well. If the conservative party would do that, they could really have a board. But you know what the issue is? They got to fight deep-rooted racism within the party. And that's why it's just never going to happen. Because you have to have a true looking within yourself, within that party, and truly come to terms that if you really are truly about the American values and American expression and being American, then you understand why you need all Americans with you to do it. That's why they will always be painted as the party as such, because they have really done nothing to really shed it. That's the issue.
Right.
If they would finally just have like a heart-to-heart moment, bada boom, bada bam, back some true good faith laws and things. Because here's the thing. Because to be honest with you, this is the same party that was still with shit like this. We want to talk about because listen, you could if Republicans took a few of these bills or some of this like wasteful government spending and they backed it to go to true minority causes, things to truly help communities and change people's livelihoods, you can start to get in it. Because let's talk about wasteful government spending. $54 billion in wasteful government spending. Rand Paul, representative from Kentucky, he always comes out with a wasteful spending report. This one was from 2000. This is going to be for the year 2020. So now Congress spent as never before doing so obscenely without care in 2020, greatly contributing to what is now a $3.1 trillion deficit. This is what Senator Rand Paul said, and he's done his wasteful spending. So now listen, let's just talk about some of this. We have our government is spending $36 million to ask why stress makes people's hair turn gray.
What? Wait. We're not back at the hair turning gray.
Yep.
36 what?
$1 million. We spend $1.3 million to study whether people will eat up ground up bugs. $3.45 million to send messages to mothers to encourage their teen daughters to stop indoor tanning. $31.5 million on allegedly faked study and leaking e-cigarettes to heart attacks.
These have to be fake.
No, it's not. 3.1 million interviewing San Franciscoans about their edible cannabis use. $2 million on testing if using a hot tub can lower stress. $3.69 million on U.S. Food and Drug Administration's deeming rule. We have $1.45 million on studying prevalence of party drug use at New York City clubs and raves. And this is only a little bit of it. I didn't even read all of them. I just read the heavies. So
I mean, we have to vote on this, right? I mean, is there any say from the people on these? Because the government is just deciding to use the money for this.
This is what we send our representatives up there to do. This is what they do.
People don't talk about it. People don't bring it up.
Rand Paul's been doing it every year for ever since he got in, talking about wasteful spending. But here's once again, if the Republican Party, if you fought to change some of the programs to really help some true minority causes, really truthfully have that look, you can do some things.
Right.
But in good conscience, a lot of people just have a bad taste. Like personally, this is why I didn't vote for Donald Trump. Let me tell you why, right? This nigga was playing niggas from day one. The nepotism was real. This nigga was really out here wilding and lying. Like, listen, this is when I knew.
Yeah.
Let me tell you up front when I knew. I was like, oh, come on, son. Like, you can't fuck with this motherfucker. You can't drain a swamp that you are deeply rooted in. Like, your kids go to school with Hillary kids, baby. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was like, yo, listen, I'm not Like, yo, you from New York City, dog. Like, I know what you are, bro. You from Brooklyn, right? I think he's from Brooklyn, right? I know what you already are. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and let you. Nah, get the fuck out of here, bro.
Yeah.
Like, because that's why, like, you know, a lot of people.
Trump came into it in elite. He came into it in elite.
And then on top of that, he, in certain, like, he was playing on niggas' heartstrings. And don't get me wrong, he helped certain people. But then a lot of the most of his base in the Midwest, he was talking to you, but he didn't really do shit for you.
Well, he helped the middle class out, you know. I mean, people were working. Like, even the lower middle class, like, was getting money. Now the lower,
I have a question.
Course, yeah.
How them farmers going? What about them factory workers? I know you brought one plant back to the States, but then they ended up leaving. But there was a lot of. But then don't get me wrong, you had the pipeline going. But then now with the pipeline, you had the whole conversation with what the American government gave to the Indian people when you were running it through their land, their sovereign land that we gave them. Right. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, at the end of the day, this motherfucker don't give a fuck neither. I was like, it's like that's why I didn't fuck with him. I was like, you ain't shit neither. Like, I ain't gonna fuck with him. But there were things that I did like that he did. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, I trashed the whole time. Like, no, I didn't vote for him, but when he was in office, I treated him the same way I treat the rest of you motherfuckers. All right, what you gonna do? Oh, I fuck with that. Oh, I hate this nigga for that. Like, that's how I was. And honestly, I think if he would have shut the fuck up, he probably would have did better.
That was kind of hard to watch, you know, at times, especially because, you know, Trump. Listen, I think it's cool if somebody wants to speak their mind. That's their God-given right as an American. Speak your mind, but man, he was taking it over the top, man. With the Twitter, it was crazy. It was too much. He was threatening people over Twitter, you know. It was crazy.
I have a question. How crazy is it? And I don't think people really understand this. Like, this is what these people don't get. How crazy is it that big tech, is able to silence the president of the United States of America?
That in itself, that was treason happening in real time. I think in my eyes, like, as an American, like, I'm an American, I have American values. To me, that was treason live. Like, they were saying, listen, like, you're about to lose, you know, the presidency. You're done. Like, shut the fuck up and get out of the way. And it was crazy to see it. He was the president of the United States, you know, the most powerful man in the free world, just getting shut down.
And then but then here's what I gotta say to people, because here's what they're gonna say. They're gonna say, hey, listen, look what he incited at the Capitol riots. Okay, listen, but hold on. I'll give you that. I'm not gonna debate that. But then what's the difference, right? They stormed the Capitol riot to get these lawmakers who've been playing games. No matter how you want to look at it. Don't get me wrong, they would. Mm-hmm. That's treason what they did. But all you motherfuckers are talking about changing. That's what they want to do. And then you see the cops letting them in. Right? This is what we see. So the whole thing is suspect to me.
Yeah. This
is what you saw that happen, right? That's what he incited. But then my question becomes, when you had the Black Lives Matter protest, and then you had different groups joining it to cause violence and anger, destroying our communities. Not their communities, but they're coming in destroying our communities. Was anybody silenced on the Twitter machine or the Facebook machine when they were getting that going? If they can quell one, they can quell another. And because they're on your side today does not mean that they're going to be on your side tomorrow.
Right. But, you know, you have to remember, like, people are just, if the pool of news we know is tainted, right? China, Russia, whoever it is, people have influence over certain news media outlets. Where do we go for news? Where do we go for information that's not biased? Because it was just so biased one way or the other. You know, people are arguing over the internet.
I think this is what happens. I think people need to read your news. I don't like that is some of the best advice I got from a good friend. We were having dinner one day and we were talking about world events and yada, yada, yada. And I was like, yo, I sent you this video. Did you check it out? He was like, he goes, nah. He goes, I try not to watch videos of certain things before I read about it. And I was like, well, why not? He goes, I like to read it from one side. I like to read it from another side. and then I can come to an opinion based on what they're both saying. Because I know that they're both gonna be out the park, but I gotta look at the consistencies, and then I can kind of make my own judgment. Then I'll watch whatever it is before it's sensationalized. Like, and what we have to I'm sorry.
The social media machine is so powerful because now, I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone's guilty of it. As soon as something occurs, you know, it starts to go viral and becomes big news. Everyone is sharing it, but you know, people aren't necessarily looking at who is, you know, providing you that information and where that information may have came from. It just becomes this machine that is just throwing it everywhere, you know, and people just start to believe it. So, you know, you have to think, are we ever going to be able to discern what's real and what's not again? You know, we kind of lost that. Big tech got too powerful. Just, you know, they shouldn't have been able to silence the president, you know, of the United States.
Big tech is way too powerful. First of all, okay. So we allow big tech censorship, right? But then these are the same people who then look at the data you're consuming,
right,
and then directly play ads to it to continue to get you.
And they also sell it.
To
They're
put
making
money into
tons
the system.
of money.
And then mind you, since they have this data on you, they know you're broke. They know you ain't got no bread. They know you're trying to save up to get this. They know you're trying to do this, but they're continuously trying to fuck you over.
Yeah.
Say what you want to say about it.
They listen to you. They listen to you. You're hanging out at home. They're listening to what you're doing. I mean, I've had it happen to me. You know, we're just bullshitting, talking about something, and that product comes up on your Facebook feed all of a sudden. You have to think, why the fuck is my phone listening to me? You know, and then our information, we don't understand how
they're selling our information.
They're selling our information. It's worth so much money, you know, and they have these companies that will buy our information. So, you know, is it right for them to gather this information on us and then make a profit off of it? What are we, you know?
And then decide at the drop of a hat that you can just go ahead and fucking, I can just censor your voice. Especially, and I don't think people understand what we're dealing with. They don't understand the games that we're in. I don't think they're going to be listening like, well, you're on here trying to make money on the internet, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, but I'm trying to inform you motherfuckers. Like, at the end of the day, what comes is what's going to come. But you can't say that I went out like a pussy.
We're just trying to talk facts over here.
I'm just trying to, we just trying to help you motherfuckers realize that they are not your friends.
Right.
Look at how they use you to continue. Listen, the whole Apple phone that you love to use, why do they make everything so goddamn expensive and make it in such a way that you can easily break it and have to return it? Like, I'm confused.
I'm glad I got off that train. I got on the Samsung Life, but, you know, people always want to talk about green bubbles, you know, all the time.
Dave said, fucking green bubble. He said, I don't give a fuck. Yeah, I can tell that shit pisses you off. Yeah. But it's an interesting thing. It's an interesting thing because right now, I'm sorry.
No, it's just, you know, we have to decide, are we going to let big tech run America? Are we going to let big tech start to, you know, silence people and then in turn the government turning around and saying who can say what, you know? People being jailed over words. That's a little scary. That's concerning.
You saw what they did to the Parler. What was it? Was it the Parler app when they thought that Trump was going on it? How
Google was not having it.
No, Google didn't have it. Google was not having it.
Yeah, Google was like, don't even try to come on. You're not going to be hosted on here.
It's a very interesting, like when you can
Who gets to say that, right? This is America.
That's the thing that I want to talk about, because if you're talking about freedom of expression, and we gotta let it go. Right. We gotta let it go. Because listen, let me tell you something here, people. And the world doesn't give a fuck about your feelings. So you trying to sit here and put yourself in an echo chamber of what you think that you want to hear. That's not how the world goes. Grow a pair of fucking balls. If they can completely, because the whole thing I'm thinking of is this. Like, I'm black. I got some views. I got some thoughts, right? Today, it's cool to like black people. It's cool. What happens when it's not? What happens when it's not? Because you saw what they just did to the white man. What happens when it's not?
Which one?
No, I'm just talking about with the Parler shit and with Trump and shit.
Oh yeah,
the president.
It's insane.
But what happens when public opinion then sways? Like, Listen,
Right.
I understand certain things come come with certain things, but we have to realize how fat, like,
they're hiding behind like this guise of like, you can't say that because it's racist and it's hateful and it's driving people to commit, acts of violence.
Let's talk about this for a second. So you have the Stop Asian Hate thing going on. So I think, so there was a video out there and this guy got the shit kicked out of, he kicked the shit out of somebody. Mm-hmm. This Asian dude, because he called him a nigger. He beat the shit out of him. Then hold on, let me see. You know what? Because I'm gonna go back. Because she put it on the internet, so you can't sue for defamation of character. Because I'm just reporting what you did. So her name is. One second, I just gotta go back. I'm sorry, people. Hold on, because I definitely want to get who her. Yes. So it was Jenny Lam Low. She had posted, the N-word may have been used, but no one Hispanic or Asian deserves a beat down like this. This was so brutal to watch. This could have been my son. Thank you for getting, she said, thank you at C Fan Kim for getting to a person who shot the video. My question remains, why did anyone help? No, excuse me. I'm sorry. It was an Hispanic person who actually said the N-word, and then they just got the shit kicked out of them. Okay, but listen.
The thing,
but hold on. Give me a second. I just have a question, because listen here, black people. Do you not see how quick public opinion can switch against anyone?
Yeah.
No, this is a word. At the end of the day, my thoughts with Hispanic using the N-word, I really don't give a fuck. Like when it comes to nigga, I don't really give a fuck. I come from Long Island. It is what that's what I kind of grew up with. So it's not it is what it is. Like that.
People
that
used
never
to
really...
talk a lot different. I mean, what year did you graduate high school?
2009.
Yeah, it was 2010. I mean, back in the day, it was just
it was a different time period.
It was a lot different.
So, but then I think people from that era kind of like when people, it's like I said, we're different.
Because now it is different with everyone, pretty much. I mean, not that anyone should be using these words to begin with, but it was something like growing up. The rap game. That's what was pushed to everybody, and that's what everybody just kind of followed suit. With it, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah, listen, I don't got to okay, white people shouldn't be saying it, and then I guess like I said, but then
100%.
Yeah, white people. This isn't the conversation for you. But I've never had a real issue with Spanish. Like I said, because that's what I just grew up. That's what I grew up with.
A lot of Hispanic people, I will say, I mean, they have Afro-Latino roots. If you go back,
I'm about to say, that's like
a lot do. But it's just we need to drop the racism thing. In general, it's like we're.
I guess because that was in my high school. Like it was it was you motherfuckers all come from the same tree kind of shit.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So
real
we can say this. That's so it was like, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
But okay, whatever. The motherfucker got the shit kicked out of him. But it's like Jenny Lam Love. So you telling me that who definitely should not be saying it. So what are your true feelings about black people, Miss Jenny Lam Love? You see, and then until she got the backlash online, then she walked back in comments. But how quick public opinion can change.
The court of public opinion is too strong with social media because, we kind of talked about it last time. We were saying Cuomo, despite him being a piece of shit, still, if he's going to go to court, everyone deserves their day in court. As an American, unfortunately, people are guilty before proven innocent, but it should be the other way around. You should be innocent until proven guilty. That was the idea of the founding fathers, and it just somewhere along the line switched. And the court of public opinion is deciding these days, pretty much the first day the news hits, what's guilty, who's guilty and who's not. It's crazy.
And we've gotten away from the point, like you said, that they don't even just give us the information and let us decide what we feel.
Right.
Our opinion
and get all the information and
give me the information as it comes. Don't fucking play with me.
Yeah, come on,
but then yet again, we for some reason don't want to talk about that.
Right.
We don't want to have that conversation for some reason of just why everything is so sensationalized.
Yeah, it's driven through like social media. It's just anything that's driven. They drive using emotion, like anything that's gonna spike. Instant. Everybody reading, everybody catching on, everybody talking about it. That's what they're pushing out. And it's just, everyone's just kind of they're lost in it.
So I got a question for you, Dave. Let's talk about sensational. Let's talk about sensationalizing shit, right? So now, AOC claims surge plays into white supremacist philosophy. So basically, this is what she said. Earlier this week, the progressive icon released a video in which she claimed that anyone using the word surge around you consciously is trying to invoke a militaristic frame, and that's a problem because this is not a surge. These are children. They are not insurgents. We are not being invaded, which, by the way, is a white supremacist idea, philosophy, the idea that if an other is coming in the population, that this is an invasion of who we are.
AOC is too fucking radical for me. She's too radical. Do you hear that talk?
And this is her comments come less than a week after President Biden used the term while announcing his vice president would lead diplomatic efforts in halting the surge of migrants.
Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? She's radical. She is very, very, very radical.
But then what else do you listen to this? Because this is what no one's going to talk about, right? So there's been a record number of unaccompanied children cross the border in March, just sending over kids. Now you got in March, the total was at least 60% higher than the previous record of 11,494 in May 2019. That of just people leaving kids. I just want to have a question.
So essentially,
why are we not having a time? Why are we not having? Why are they just leaving kids? And then something else. And here's my thing. Let's have this conversation then. Let's have this conversation. What's happening now, because the cages that Joe built are being overfilled, the cages that Obama and Joe built, that President Trump and Pence loved using the same way that their predecessors used, is the same way that Biden and Harris are continuing to use them. They're now becoming more overfilled. So what they're doing is in some cases, some of these foster homes with American kids, they're being kicked out for illegal immigrants.
And where are they going?
They're getting aged out or kicked out or faster or whatever the case may be, or they may be like moved yet again. They may be moved like their situation is adjusted. Like why would you adjust their situation? Why wouldn't you just adjust the kid's situation? Why wouldn't we? Why are we not talking to the Mexican government? Like how the fuck are people just leaving kids?
Well, you know, the Mexican president is saying that anybody that's going over but doesn't make it shouldn't come back. Any Mexicans anyway. People are forgetting that a lot of Central and Southern Americans are crossing the border.
It's not just Mexicans.
I would believe that they're the majority, you know, if anything. But I would say that the cartels and the coyotes are the ones who are really profiting off of this. And they know that our government is weak right now, that our defenses are weak. You know, not under Trump, he had it kind of, it was better than it is obviously now.
I would say, well, because of the number, because the way his rhetoric was, people weren't trying to cross over that much. But here's the thing. Why doesn't the conversation change? Because I want to know how much money we spend not keeping these motherfuckers out. And we spend in America supporting lifestyles. Don't get me wrong; they end up becoming like great citizens in some cases. In some cases they don't. But why wouldn't we, at this point, I would just why don't we invest in these countries? Invest in these countries, and then, somehow, some way, just make it so listen, I just got to have a really good border protection.
Right.
We'll invest X amount of dollars for X amount of years to get your economies going so people don't really necessarily want to leave. Yada, yada, yada. At this point, because realistically speaking, something has to be done because no one, why is it okay that people are just leaving kids?
Did you see the video of them dropping these kids over the border? I mean, it's incredible. It's actually, it's happening and people aren't really talking about it too much.
But then what happens? But then, okay, people, you love these kids. You want these kids to be over, whatever the case may be. But what are happening to these kids who no one knows about? Do we not know about sex trafficking?
Do we not know about
human trafficking? Yeah. No, this is an undocumented human.
Right.
People, there is a legitimate black market here.
Of course.
I don't know if you know this or not.
Of course. It's just it's the fact of the matter. It's reality.
Do you not think, what happened to these kids?
God only knows.
All right. Listen. So You're not stopping people from just sending kids over here with no documentation on who they were. But this is the same government that we have locked up judges for giving black boys a longer sentence because they were getting paid in the prison industrial complex system. You know this. So you're telling me that you don't believe there's going to be some people trying to use these children as leverage that are just being left unaccompanied?
Oh, 100%.
Why are we not having that conversation? Why is a conversation that America should absolutely be letting these kids in when you don't even trust your own government for yourself, but you want to trust this government to then try to handle some undocumented kids? Where are they going?
Right.
What's happening to these kids?
It really makes you wonder. I mean, there was that recent video Project Veritas had shared. There were people, looked like they were under a bridge, sleeping outside with tinfoil sheets, as beds. It's just this massive corral of people. What the heck? Nobody knows what's going on. Nobody knows. People are starting to investigate, but I don't know. I mean, they're reporting that these people, I mean, they're sleeping outside. They're sleeping in buildings, overcrowded buildings. Kids, I'm sure, disappearing.
Where do these kids go? And why is that not the conversation? Like, how do you, if they're how?
But yet, all of a sudden, they're bringing up, the Derrick Chauvin case. Listen, have you noticed that that's kind of been reoccurring now in the media? If you've noticed, past couple weeks, they've been bringing it up because they're talking about it.
Well, no, because he's on trial right now.
I think they're trying to overcharge him. Unfortunately, I think that I don't know that in
what regard
the third degree is going to stick, being that was the police department's fault by that technique being a department technique. What he was doing, it wasn't right. But how are they going to, by law, word for word, charge him if, that was an approved technique by that police department? Whether we talk about the ethics of it, if it was right or wrong is one thing, but being that on paper, it was legal for him to use it, is what I'm saying in law terms, in lawyer speak.
But in lawyer speak, but then you also have to look at the intent behind it as well. So for instance, you had George Floyd with 3 humans on him, 3 of them, and then one person just standing there. And at the end of the day, George Floyd is really not doing anything.
Right.
For 8 minutes and 46 seconds. So just that alone in itself is like,
it was wrong. Right.
No. But I'm talking about let's talk about technical standpoint. Now, now, if he was by himself using that same technique, we have a different conversation. If he's the only one, people surrounding him, that's a different thing. But with 3 people and you still are having him in such a manner, that to me, and then we have to remember, him and George used to work together as bouncers. And they historically have not liked each other. So that's why it's like, listen, intent can be argued either way with this law. So that's why I'm like, nah, I don't think he's being overcharged.
Right. I'm saying if they want things to stick, if they really want things to stick, we'll see. But I would imagine, I mean, from a jiu-jitsu standpoint, I will say that one guy who is, he has an MMA record, the one witness who was there. And he was calling that technique, like he was saying that it was a blood choke. Well, that's not true because he was covering one side of his neck, and you technically can't, perform a blood choke on the carotid arteries with just one side. Right. Probably be uncomfortable, but I don't think that it would make someone pass out, So you have to think now, like this information that they're using, that they're saying is right. I mean, essentially.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, because
crumble the case a little bit, and for people that know, of course, most people probably aren't going to know that, but that's the thing that I'm saying. Like when they use this information, people forget our government, these prosecutors, the DAs, they'll use any information that they can get, essentially to try to make charges to stick. But I think, for him doing the wrong thing, they need to be careful, because what I'm saying is the wording, when they look at it like law for law and decide how they want to try the case. Because if we let, emotions run the court system, then our laws are going to start to disintegrate, because the government is going to step in and say, all right, no, people that do this now, that's, this, like a hate crime, that person's automatically guilty. They're going to jail for life. That's when the overreach starts to occur.
But then I would argue that our system, but then that is the issue, because then I would argue that our judicial system already does that, with emotions.
Right.
Because remember, everything is left to the discretion of the judge at the end of the day.
Right.
That's really the issue too, because so that's why you're able to get such disproportionate numbers in sentences.
Right.
Why is it that Brock Turner's able to just go ahead and rape, basically rape a fucking drug passed out girl, whatever he did. And then the judge saying that I don't want to ruin your life. Let me tell you something else. Let me tell you something else. There's this cop, Rob Shura, in Farmingdale, got locked up because he's from Farmingdale. I think he was a Nassau County cop from Long Island. I played football against him in high school, and we played on that All-Star game.
Mm-hmm.
He got locked up because he was passed out driving. He killed somebody. Yada yada yada.
Whoa.
Yeah. He's got all these people coming to his defense saying what a good guy he is, character. Even the judge says they're like, you're a good young man. I hate this happened to you. I got to do this. Yada yada. So and then don't get me wrong. They sent him. Hold on. Let me see how long he got for that. Let's see. Because he passed out. Don't get me wrong. He lost his leg in it.
Right. Wow, he lost his leg. Oof.
Yeah, that's all he did, Rob. Yeah, he survived it though. Rob Shura. Long Island cop DWI. So sorry, people, but we're just trying to get the young Jamie on at the same time. Yeah.
You gotta hire somebody.
He got he was a Suffolk County cop, right? Gets 3 to 9 years.
Damn.
In fatal DWI crash.
So good behavior out in 2.5. What?
And this is a man who's law enforcement, got drunk after being with other law enforcement, went out driving and killed somebody.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. No, and then he gets 3 to 9 years.
And you're right there. The judicial system is essentially what you say, biased. It's very biased.
It's very
right, the sentencing.
And the issue is that it needs to be like, I'm not gonna argue. I know what you're trying. I know what you said. Excuse me, not you're trying to say. I know what you said in the sense of don't let emotions rule, and you're correct in that. But the issue is that we have already gotten even past that. But I would say George Floyd, what makes it the most egregious is that, and here's a conversation no one's having. Why the fuck do we have law enforcement agents? Why the fuck do we have you motherfuckers that it took 3 of you to handle a 6'4", 210-pound man?
That's one thing I can get behind too, especially is, listen, I'm gonna sound like a nut job, but every police officer should train jujitsu. They should at least be a blue belt level in jujitsu.
Yes.
Because if you can learn how to properly control someone, people think, choking somebody out is so very vicious. Like, obviously you can kill somebody doing it, but you can put someone to sleep and they will have no damage done to them if they go to sleep. They'll be out for, however many seconds. They won't lose oxygen to the brain because you're letting go once they do pass out. So as long as you do not continue to hold the choke, I
definitely agree because first of all, you can't be out here this scared. And that's another thing too, is you got these pussy ass cops and then they're fucking half cocked. So what I mean by that is, like, I got a buddy of mine who's a cop. I ain't gonna shout out who and where he come from, but he trains people. And he does like self-defense tactics. I was talking to him. He was like, bro, he goes, before I start every class, I ask, how many of y'all got into fights growing up and yada, yada, yada. He goes, every year the number goes down lower and lower.
Oh, yeah. It's not,
You're getting a bunch of fucking pussies. That's another, like, let's talk, like, why, like, first of all, let's have another thing. Why the fuck did each one of them cops look, I believe, like, the Asian dude looked fat and like an out of shape piece of shit. Derrick looked like an out of shape piece of shit. Yeah. And then you have fucking, who's the other one? Did he look like he was in a little bit of shape?
Yeah, he might have been, athletic build, if I remember correctly.
Okay, so he was the only one, but yet he was the one that was at the end, like towards his legs, and basically they all of you were fucking pussies. So something. But then,
the thing is, they don't know how to properly because they don't get into those situations like you're saying. They may grow up not maybe getting into an altercation, whatever it may be, and then they get into one. All of a sudden, they're a cop. And, they don't know what to do physically. So what's the first thing they're going to do? They're going to reach for the weapon because, I have a gun and this person can't stop a bullet.
And that's the conversation that no one wants, like, they're fucking. But yet again, these are the same.
There needs to be that training. There needs to be that confidence for that police officer to say, listen, I'm going to, I'm going to control you if you want to act up,
So, yeah, that's what I'm saying? So it's like, like, I think that it's I want him in jail. But But then I also want a system change, and I want us to really truly look at this, because there's like the fact that this guy got 3 to 9. Like, hold on, let's just go back to him.
Right.
Fucking
3 to 9. So what? He'll do 3. Maybe 3 if he's
fucking killed somebody. He accepted the full responsibility. Nothing they can say brings him back. Okay, that's fine. Then the fucking Supreme Court justice gave him 3 to 9 years in prison, a reduction in return for his guilty plea to aggravated vehicular manslaughter. Although his sentence has not been imposed, he'll begin serving his term in 2018.
Also, it makes you think too.
He drank 10 pints.
What are they?
Beer and alcohol.
Can you imagine if things open up? What the DUI rate will be then on Long Island? I mean, people are going on now, but can you imagine if things really opened up? Oof, people might really overdo it.
The goddamn judge received numerous letters from his family, friends, vouching for his character's main statements, those impacted by Farasso's death, making for a difficult decision. Before the crash, Shura did everything right. Star athlete, model, hero, cop, a hero cop, loyal friend, best of the best. How do you reconcile with the picture of the man who got behind the wheel and took the life of somebody? Like, come the fuck on.
Yeah.
What are we?
Ridiculous. It's unfair.
Hold on. Somebody said he deserves much credit for accepting full responsibility. I think the sentence imposed will help give him the opportunity to continue to help people.
It's disgusting.
It's disgusting.
Just like our vice president. Just like our vice president who used to lock up minorities in California and act like she's such a part of the group. Like, it's just complete and utter bullshit. But people don't want to talk about it.
Or how they're fucking firing people now for fucking saying they smoked a little bit of reefer, but she smoked reefer.
Talking about reefer. Now that it's legal in New York, I believe we're going to see a huge overreach in police pulling people over. Now they can't use the smell of marijuana to enter the car anymore because it's legal to carry up to 3 ounces, I believe.
Yeah, that's what they said.
Now they're going to have those machines. They're essentially like breathalyzers for marijuana. But you got to ask yourself like that question, how accurate is that thing? I know they do blood tests as well for marijuana, but you have to remember, if you're an everyday marijuana user, you're going to have a high amount trace in your blood. Mm-hmm. It's going to be there regardless of how active you are. So you have to beg the question, how are they going to use this? Because, they probably get a lot of money from DUIs and they would love to lock people up. And you've also seen it as an argument, like the town of Hempstead. One of the guys over there was, complaining about it, saying he wasn't going to accept it, blah, blah, blah. It's just craziness.
Listen, all I can say is this. At the end of the day, people just better watch out. Don't consume it.
Right.
Hopefully, don't
drive around high. Yeah.
Don't be out here wilding. Just,
just go pick your weed up, go home and smoke it and chill and be relaxed.
And relax yourself. Don't be out here fucking it up. Fucking the game up for the rest of us. But listen here, Big Dave, this has been fucking great.
Yeah, it felt good to get that off my chest. Whew.
Oh yeah, no. Listen,
I'm a stressed American. I am a stressed out American. If you're watching what's going on in America right now, you should be stressed and you should be worried.
I think a lot of us should be stressed, but I think that conversations like this continuously to be had, for people to understand, this is how you have discord. This is how you have conversations. This is how you work issues through people. You understand what I'm saying? But you motherfuckers don't know. But don't worry, because guess what? Next week we'll be back with David.
That's right.
And then I got listen. Joey Diaz said. Uncle Joey said, if you got an army of Jews behind you, of Jewish people, that you can't go wrong. You always gonna go forward. And then he also said that motherfucking Italians got if Italians fuck with you, they got your back until you fucking die. Well, guess what?
That's right.
I got a half Jewish and a half Italian accountant coming on next week.
Oh, man.
And he's gonna help us break down this motherfucking tax plan. He's gonna help us break down the fucking the ramifications of some of the bills internationally with taxes imposed, and then what it means for our global competition. We're gonna have a hell of a time. Listen here, people.
Oof.
I am Dean. That right there is Dave. You'll see us next week, baby.
Peace and love.
Motherfucking chicken. We are out. Yeah, son. Oh shit, I'm about to knock this over again. Blooper.